Tonight on Canyons News, a local nonprofit is trying to give hope to the homeless. We take a look under the hood of the car buying market, and a music professor here on campus bids farewell the only way they know how. Canyons News starts now.
Live from Mentry Hall on the campus of College of the Canyons.
Came together to shed light on a deadly epidemic.
With news from across the Santa Clarita Valley.
And senseless tragedy.
Reporting live for Canyons News.
Line 10, camera 5.
This is Canyons News.
Hello everyone and welcome to Canyons News. I'm Natalie Lau and here's the latest from the Canyons newsroom. We begin tonight with a developing story. A Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department deputy was injured in a rollover crash in Saugus. The crash happened at the intersection of Newhall Ranch Road and Bouquet Canyon Road shortly after noon. The patrol SUV was T-boned at the intersection, causing the unit to flip and land on its wheels. The deputy was rushed to a trauma center in unknown condition with the Sheriff's Department escort. 2 other people were injured in the crash. It's unknown how many deputies were injured at this time. The crash is still under investigation. As the semester comes to a close, celebrations are ramping up. Tonight, our reporter Catherine Brooke joins one of the many high school graduation ceremonies happening here on campus over the past 2 weeks. She brings us more about the high school ceremonies and College of the Canyons' upcoming commencement ceremony.
Thank you, Natalie. Tonight, Saugus High School graduates, faculty, family, and friends celebrated the culmination of 12 years of education and watches their students receive their diplomas. This ceremony marks the final of 7 high school graduations held here at Cougar Stadium over the past 2 weeks. The Saugus Centurions celebrated the end of their high school careers and the beginning of a new chapter. But the festivities at College of the Canyons are far from over. CUC personnel could be seen setting up the honor row for Friday's graduation. Festivities start bright and early at 9 a.m. More than 2,000 students will graduate from COC this week, including 800 of them with honors. The youngest student to graduate will be 16 years old. On the other end of the spectrum, a 77-year-old will also receive a diploma. The ceremony will be broadcast live here on canyons.media/live for family watching from home. From Cougar Stadium, I'm Catherine Brooke. Back to you in the studio, Natalie.
Thanks, Kate. The feeling of stress is no stranger to any student, but sometimes we still forget to check in on our mental health. Canyons News reporter Maya Gulsatarian takes a look at how the feeling affects students during finals week.
It's that time of the year when students across the nation cram in hours upon hours of studying in preparation for finals week.
During exam season, just like every other student, I'm always stressed, and you're like, oh, to make the deadline to pass the class or to get an A in the class, you're just spending most of your time just studying, and you get sometimes drained out.
And students do come in with overwhelming stress and chronic stress during midterms, finals, and that can result in developing an anxiety disorder, depressive disorder.
But what most people don't realize is that stress can be helpful to some extent.
I'd like to say that stress is not a bad thing. Stress is a good thing because it actually motivates you to study. It actually motivates you to complete your assignments. Overwhelming stress or chronic stress is what is not good.
So what exactly are some ways to cope with final stress?
I just think of whenever it's going to be over and I'm like, oh, I'm going to be all stress-free once summer comes around, and I don't have to worry about these big unit classes or my STEM classes whenever summer comes around. So you just think of like the outcome later on.
Make sure you get enough sleep because sleep affects your mood, right? And if you're not sleeping, you're also not going to be thinking clearly, and that's going to affect you during test taking. We usually have the therapy dogs come on campus. We had stress reduction workshops. We had mindfulness workshops.
When exam season rolls around the corner, it's easy to forget about your own well-being. To help cope with the stress, be sure to utilize the resources that COC offers. For Canyons News, I'm Maya Gulsatarian.
For years, local nonprofit Bridge to Home has helped hundreds facing homelessness find housing. Last Monday, they got their own permanent home. Canyons News reporter Samantha Pierce has more.
A large crowd gathered on Drayton Street to celebrate the opening of Bridge to Home's new interim housing facility.
This is a huge milestone for us.
The organization first broke ground on the property in 2022. 2 years later, it's finally complete.
It's been a labor of love. It's been a long journey that has been the result of communities, private and public entities coming together to build this amazing facility.
The new shelter comprises a men's dormitory, a women's dormitory, apartment-style family units, a communal dining area, and other amenities. It can house approximately 40 men, 20 women, and 8 families.
What's particularly exciting to me, because it's so rare and it's so hard to find, is that there is family housing here.
With this facility, Bridge to Home will not only assist their unhoused clients, but others in need of basic necessities.
We will be able to house over 100 people here at a time, but we will serve over 1,000 people a year. That's folks who are in need of services who we can't house, but they'll be able to come in, take a shower, do their laundry. We have special places just available for them, and to provide meals for them as well.
Bridge to Home's next step will be acquiring funding to operate this facility. Fortunately, Assemblywoman Pilar Schiavo got the ball rolling with a $1.25 million check.
The work that's been happening here in this community to get to this place where Bridge to Home has a permanent home is so important and so inspiring, and I'm so happy that we can be a part of it.
Bridge to Home plans to begin moving clients in by June. For Canyons News, I'm Samantha Pierce.
The Federal Reserve met earlier this month to discuss interest rates. These rates affect consumers looking to take out loans. Canyons News reporter Ian Gutierrez is live in Valencia to tell us more.
Thank you, Natalie. On May 1st, the Fed's Chair Jerome Powell announced that for now they are holding interest rates steady. So for car buyers who are hoping for a drop in interest rates, they're out of luck.
Cars, they're everywhere. And if you're looking to purchase one, there's plenty to choose from.
It's not too bad. 2018 Ford Mustang convertible 4-cylinder.
Emmanuel Enumba is just one of many buyers who come to the Santa Clarita Auto Fair that's held every weekend at COC.
Okay. Some nice wheels. Was thinking about getting a new car, and I don't want to spend too much money on a car because in this economy it's like expensive and everything like that. So right now I'm trying to figure out if I can buy a used car if the price is right.
Keep in mind, if you decide to finance the purchase, the cost goes up. According to automotive website Edmunds.com, the average interest rate last month was 11.15% for used cars and 7.09% for new cars. And because the Fed has decided to hold rates steady, car buyers can expect around the same rate.
Finance charges, I personally don't like. I would not like it. I would be livid, mad, because I would be giving money to somebody else when I can be using it for something else, you know. So finance charges is not something I would be happy about. You know?
The price on the shiny convertible is $16,000 at an 11.15% interest rate. For a 6-year term, will cost about $6,000 in finance charges, bringing the total cost to just over $22,000.
No, I'm gonna pay cash, most definitely. I don't feel like owing anybody or being in burden to finance, so no, I'm gonna pay cash.
The Federal Reserve is scheduled to meet again on June 11th and 12th, so stay tuned to see if they decide to drop rates then. Reporting live for Canyons News, I'm Ian Gutierrez. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Ian. Current College of the Canyons student Christina Mendoza lives over an hour away, but still decides to attend and commute to COC instead of a college nearby. Canyons News reporter Rachel Krieg has more on her journey.
When it comes to earning a degree, college students are known for putting in hard work, dedication, and most importantly, time, all for their academics and their future. Putting in countless of hours for a valuable education is nothing new for current College of the Canyons student Christina Mendoza, whose commute to school alone is already over an hour long.
But it is a 60-mile drive there. I mean, just there, can you imagine there and back twice a week? That's crazy.
Christina currently lives in Lake Los Angeles, but grew up in Santa Clarita, California, always having a soft spot for the city. That mixed with the school's high ratings made attending COC a no-brainer, although now she has to leave her house hours before her class even starts.
Earliest 12 p.m. only because I try to at least have some time to study. I also miss Santa Clarita, if I'm being honest, so I tend to, go back to like the places I used to go, kind of little walk down memory lane.
With her nursing prerequisites being completed by the fall 2024 semester, Christina is eager to apply to nursing programs around the state, praying to get into COC's very own.
Definitely COC. I would 100% choose COC for the nursing program, only because it's just the best.
Christina's drive to be the first to graduate college in her family and her need to succeed is just a few of the things pushing her to achieve her goals, no matter how far the commute is. For Canyons News, I'm Rachel Krieg.
As the end of the semester approaches, one group of anthropology students are testing their skills to see if they have what it takes to survive. We go to Canyons News reporter Meg Hall for more.
Most activities to celebrate the end of the school year don't usually consist of smashing rocks, butchering cucumbers, or spear throwing. But these so-called activities were once everyday tasks for ancient humanity, and College of the Canyons Anther students are reviving them today in the annual Anther Survivor. This event is commonly found at Anther-focused universities, and one professor was inspired to bring the tradition to COC.
When I started out here, I wanted to do something that would maybe interest students in our Anthro classes, but also give them sort of a fun, sort of stress-relieving activity at the end of the semester before exams.
Not only are these activities enjoyable and interactive, one contestant argues that it is one of the most effective ways of learning this field.
I think a huge part of studying anthropology is doing things yourself. We've just been learning in archaeology about experimental archaeology, where you actually try to do or make things, and you just learn so much more about it, and I think that applies to all of anthropology.
Dr. M hopes to expand the number of activities for Anther Survivor, but is grateful for what she has been granted and couldn't have done it without one group's help.
I've applied for ASG grants every year, and that is what provides the funding to buy the stones. The darts get a little bit banged up and we have to replace those. And we really appreciate the ASG funding that we've gotten so far to be able to host this every semester.
Anther Survivor isn't really about surviving, but rather a time for trying something new. For Canyons News, I'm Meg Hall.
Coming up next on Canyons News, we take a look at some tasty treats made right here on campus. Stay tuned, Christian Sukich will have more after the break.
All the culinary classes, it's just a nice.
College of the Canyons creates possibilities.
It's a gateway to opportunities.
A place where students learn they can believe in themselves.
Behind every possibility at College of the Canyons are the people.
Together we focus on achieving success, one student at a time.
That focus is a reflection of what we value.
It defines who we are.
We are. We are.
We are College of the Canyons.
Welcome back to Canyons News. I'm Christian Sukich, and here's more from our newsroom.
The philosophy department recently engaged students on a discussion on a controversially tilted film. Reporter Asia Haskin has more on the conversation and the department's response.
Who wants to go first?
For COC's philosophy department, it was time for discussion. The department hosted a screening of the film How to Blow Up a Pipeline, a film not without some controversy for its title and message. The film follows a group of environmental activists set on sabotaging an oil pipeline. And when the lights came back on, so did the discussion.
Like a lot of the people that I associated with politically initially, they've also sort of given up hope.
Students debated on whether or not activism actually impacts change.
We kind of reconfigure things more than we actually make them better. We make them different, but we don't necessarily make them better.
And the best way to approach it.
Why are we focused on the, hey, what can you do for me? I'll do this for you. Tell me what you want, get it done, and I'll see what I can do.
You can't just demand somebody like, do it, I guess, or like, you here to serve me. The people have their own agendas all the time.
Despite the controversy in showing the film, the department says they wanted to create a space for students.
Not to jump to conclusions and to just push agendas and things, but rather a safe space to be able to think about what the noise that's going on around them.
Students also shared their thoughts on the discussion and the film's message.
A lot of the conversation we had was just discussing like the message, and a lot of people were like disagreeing with the methods. I disagree with the methods, but I think what makes it compelling is, again, the why.
For Canyons News, I'm Asia Haskin.
Well, it's about that time to catch up with the world. Here's what's trending with Charles Calvario.
Thanks, Christian. Here's a look at some of the important news trending around the globe and across the nation. A Russian strike killed 18 people in the Kharkiv megastore, the deadliest attack Ukraine has seen in weeks. Security camera footage captures the building shaking on impact, with the whole site immediately engulfed in thick and smoke flames. The Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky has issued a brutal attack on Russian plans to take actions. Papua New Guinea estimates that more than 2,000 people are believed to have been buried alive by a landslide. The death toll is now 670, and more than 150 homes had been buried by the landslide. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres sent out his condolences to the families, victims, and the government of Papua New Guinea. The U.S. has returned $80 million worth of stolen artifacts to Italy. All 60 historical pieces took a year to retrieve. Most of the items originally belonged to churches, museums, and private individuals, but were stolen and eventually recovered. And that's what's trending. I'm Charles Calvario. For more stories in and around the Santa Cruz Valley, you can check us out at canyonsnews.com. Back to Christian at the Canyons News Desk.
Thanks, Charles. Earlier this month, the Visual and Performing Arts Department at College of the Canyons continued the Dr. Diane G. Van Hook Cabaret Series. The Folk Song Central event was held in the University Center lobby and featured the Chamber Singers, Les Chanteuses, and Voices of the Canyons. Conducted by Lori Marie Rios and Christopher O'Neill, the choir sang songs native to many regions around the world like Korea, the Philippines, Europe, and the Americas. The concert was one of many throughout the semester, with more being planned by the music department in the future. A music department faculty member retires after 35 years at COC. Known for his dedication and passion for music, this professor bids us farewell with his last electronic music concert. Canyons News reporter Natalie Lau has more.
Longtime music professor Bernardo Feldman takes his final bow at COC, joining his students for the electronic music concert.
I find it beautiful that this is an open institution, the open entry, where any student can have access. It doesn't matter if you, in the case of music, if you have previous experience or if you're just beginning.
An accomplished musician himself, Feldman provides guidance at all levels while nurturing his students' creative freedom.
He really wants to understand what you're doing and help you to achieve that, like help you to express what you're trying to express.
Thank you, Bernardo.
After 35 years in the classroom, Feldman reflects on the important lessons he has learned along the way.
I don't consider myself a teacher. I don't see myself above my students. I have a lot to learn from them, from my students, and I'm a student eternally. So the way I see it is we're all learning from each other.
As the final notes play of the night, Feldman leaves behind a legacy of inspiration, making a lasting impact on the next generation of musicians at COC.
So you were an audience today, but you can be part of the show tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Reporting for Canyons News, I'm Natalie Lau.
From the lecture halls to sets and studios, this professor is shedding light on the importance of inclusivity in the media world while dropping some words of wisdom. Canyons News reporter Brie Alvarado has more.
Here in our very own MEA program at College of the Canyons, Bhavan Kareem is on his way to make a change in the film industry.
Start with a wide and they shock zoom to a medium, right?
Not only is he a film and journalism instructor, he is also the founder and chairperson of Cine International that focuses on bringing diversity onto the scene.
And for myself, I found my niche in helping others bring their vision to the screen in terms of creative development.
Most recently, his company Cine signed a $15 million financing agreement with the European organization We Belong, led by Yasmin Uran.
She has a brilliant vision for inclusion and diversity, and I'm hoping to attach our films to that so we can try to create new pathways into the entertainment industry for people whose stories haven't been told before.
Which led to him and his company attending the Cannes Film Festival this past month.
And our event at Cannes was called We Can, in the spirit of inclusion and diversity. So it brought together a number of the directors, some of our producers, the financiers, and our friends, colleagues, people who had supported us.
Although this event is a huge accomplishment, it is also very personal and a stepping stone for Professor Bhavan.
I tell the story in a way that is not stereotyped and dehumanizing, right? It's like, how do I bring the beauty of my culture to audiences in a realistic way? They all want to do that, so we're just trying to facilitate that opportunity.
For Canyons News, I'm Brie Alvarado.
The kitchen at the College of the Canyons is heating up thanks to this star pastry chef who's teaching the secrets of sweet success. Canyons News reporter Amanda Carrasco has more.
Get ready to indulge in a world of sweet creativity as we dive into the advanced cake decorating class at College of the Canyons, taught by a renowned cake chef.
What inspired me to be a pastry chef and a cake designer is the artistry behind both pastry and cake. I love creating edible pieces of art and being able to pass that knowledge and experience on to my students. The advice I have for aspiring chefs just starting out is to develop a thick skin. Sounds terrifying, but it's essential. Find who you are, stick to it, and express yourself through those edible mediums. Have fun with it.
I love the whole program. It's fun doing the culinary side and the bake side. It's really fun learning new techniques, using fondant, royal icing, and learning how to, like our final, make a 3-tiered cake. And I'm getting better, so it's definitely helped for my future.
These students are taking their skills to the next level in this 8-week course guided by Chef James, known for his work on the Food Network Challenge.
I've loved all the culinary classes. It's just a nice space to kind of struggle, as opposed to being thrust into it at work somewhere. Here, it's safe and welcoming and everyone's wonderful. Chef James is great. I really liked the way he ran the class. You could just kind of tell that he knew what he was doing.
It's a lot of difficult, little tiny tedious things sometimes. I would say fondant's pretty hard, but honestly the creative aspect of this class, like coming into class and having a cake design based on what the criteria is, it's very creative and very, very fun. You don't think you can make all stuff until you come to this class and it's like, oh my god. A lot of the things that I was scared to do, like using fondant and figuring how to dye things and color theory, all that stuff that I was scared of and was not sure if I understood it fully, now I can go into the work field and be like, I know how to do this.
And that's the last slice from today's cake story. I'm Amanda Carrasco reporting for Canyons News.
As the semester ends, students are finishing up their final assignments for their classes. During this time of the school year, students are also being recognized for their accomplishments this semester.
The audience clapped, listened, and read with intent as people stood up to hear the powerful forms of language such as music, literature, art, and even photography that were on display by students at the Intercultural Center at the unveiling of Cul-de-sac. Cul-de-sac is a literary and arts magazine that is published annually by students from English 122 at College of the Canyons. This year marks the 17th edition of the magazine, and one that the magazine's advisor says is one of the most fulfilling editions yet.
I hope somebody comes, look at this room. It was full of people today cheering on their family, cheering on their students. The English department showed up en masse to cheer us on, to cheer the magazine on. It has been honestly the most glorifying part of my career.
Dr. Aileen has been hosting this since its inception and has one main reason for doing so.
Magazine is about inclusivity, it's about belonging, it's about diversity, it's about highlighting the voices of students who often are voiceless or who often feel silenced. And that's what my why is. I want their voices to be heard.
At this unveiling, there was also awards being given out to students with the most creative writing. And one student, struggling to find his voice, may have found it, as he won an award for his fiction, Silicone Hymn.
It was pretty great. This is the first ever event or gathering that I've been to for anything like this. This is also the first time I've had any of my work published, which is very exciting. Doing the Introduction to Creative Writing class at COC here has been really helpful so far in me learning the craft of storytelling.
If you want to publish any of your artwork, please contact aileen.tazurian@canyons.edu. The 18th edition is set to be released next year. For Canyons News, I'm Julian Osorio.
Santa Clarita has 37 parks in total. Given the total number of parks, many people travel to Castaic Lake to fish and barbecue, as well as to gather to swim at the lake. Canyons News reporter Flora Punier has more.
Welcome to Castaic Lake, a natural gem nestled in the heart of Castaic. This picturesque park offers a serene escape from urban bustle. Surrounded by lush hills, Castaic Lake provides breathtaking landscape and a plethora of outdoors activity for all ages. Whether you're a fan of water sport or hiking, Castaic Lake is the ideal destination.
Me and my friends, we love to come out here to go fishing on the weekends. We usually come out maybe once or twice a week, but there's a great community. My girlfriend loves to come out and do yoga on the weekdays, but there's tons of people that come out for different sports or activities, and there's all sorts of local clubs that meet out here.
On this Memorial Day, Americans gather here to celebrate with loved ones. This park is alive with the sounds of laughter and the aroma of barbecues as families and friends come together. Many takes to the water, enjoying swimming and boating, while others relax on the shores, soaking up of the sun and scenic beauties.
Today's a holiday, so I came up here with my buddies, got some barbecue, some drinks, and it's always pretty packed here. We're probably gonna go fishing or doing kayak.
In fact, the activities are numerous. There are many hiking trails for the race, many come to camp in caravans, others take advantage of rental boats and kayaks to enjoy the many aquatic activities of the lakes. There are many barbecues and big campfires set up on the sand, as well as a lot of events like today where everyone gathered for the Memorial Day. For Canyon News, it was Flora Punier.
A varsity volleyball player recently took a dive for the worst, but made a comeback no one ever expected. Canyons News reporter Jaden Johnson has more.
Noah is someone who always has his eyes on the ball. But after an unexpected back injury, his volleyball career was almost spiked out of bounds. This West Ranch junior is a three-time Foothill League first-team member who strives to play volleyball for a career. His future quickly became uncertain after he received an injury that turned out to be more serious than he ever could expect.
I began to get some back pain, and I was sort of feeling it out, taking a bit of time off, like stretching more, just sort of feeling it out. But then we were able to get an MRI scheduled at some point, like a couple months later, and then turns out that there was a stress fracture in my back.
These results came as a shock to Noah and his family, especially considering that such a fracture is rare to find in a 16-year-old athlete. With volleyball being Noah's entire life since he was young, the fear of not being able to play brought much distress to the young player.
It definitely was stressful, thinking like I might not be able to play again. And it was like, I think I had to wear this stupid back brace from like my hips to my chest for I think it was 8 weeks. And like those were the longest 8 weeks of my life.
Despite his brace, Noah stayed as involved with volleyball as he could without overexerting himself. While recovery was slow, he would eventually regain all of his skills, not only going on to dominate in his division this past season, but also ranking number 4 for most kills nationwide on a high school leaderboard.
This season we came in like a couple new guys that got pulled up, and we were able to do something special with it. We were able to win our CIF division and then make it to state and make it to the state finals.
After high school, Noah plans to keep his volleyball career pushing, with the hope of eventually playing overseas nationally. Now having this experience, he believes that it is important to fight for what you love despite the obstacles.
Just say keep up hope. It's not over until it's over. You can always come back from anything.
For Canyons News, I'm Jaden Johnson.
A West Ranch High School alum is paying it forward with lessons on the field. Ryan Staub has returned to his hometown to help run a youth football camp. The University of Colorado quarterback shared his experience on the field and the fundamentals of the game. From running drills to talking tactics, the Division I player passed on years of wisdom to a program that gave him his start.
I learned throughout my process, and anything I can share and give to help the next kids and to help Varner and here at West Ranch is just a big blessing to me. So I'm fortunate enough to have the ability to even run my own camp, which is such an amazing experience.
The Cougars men's golf coach recently won his 11th men's state championship following last year's win by the women's team. He spoke with Canyons News reporter Nareg Sharkadian about his journey as the school's golf coach for over 4 decades.
How could you be bored in this environment? I like it. It's that simple. I mean, it's a vocation, but it's also a recreation, and I couldn't think of a better way to spend my life as a teacher, teaching film studies and coaching golf.
That does it for this edition of Canyons News. I'm Christian Sukich. Remember, you can catch us on the web at canyonsnews.com. You can also send us news tips and story ideas to our Canyons News Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram pages. Have a good night.